Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Aaron Alexander Experience podcast. My co-host Alpha Chad has passed away. That's not true. I'm sorry. He's alive. He's doing well. He's doing just fine. So don't worry about him. But I just thought that I would do just do a solo episode here. Every once in a while, I may address, if you're listening on YouTube or Spotify or wherever you listen to this podcast, I may address my Instagram every once in a while. I just decided for this solo episode, instead of sitting in a quiet room alone, that I wanted to go live on Instagram. So some of you are watching me on Instagram right now as we speak. So if that's you, congratulations. Now, some of you may also be watching this on YouTube, which makes you a psychopath a little bit. Who watches podcasts, right? Like, I've never sat down and watched an episode of the Joe Rogan podcast. But you know what? We're living in a YouTube world. And especially when I decide that, you know what, I want to start getting more guests on this show, then from there, it'll kind of have to be YouTube, right? It's not as exciting. Let's say, Lex Friedman has Tucker Carlson on. That's not that exciting that you're just listening to them, right? You want to be able to, like, really watch. Wait, let's see. Okay, hold up. Let's see. Okay, great. I can block this guy live right here. Good. Block. All right, somebody was trolling, saying a lot of really aggressive sexual things. People want to bang me, both guys and girls. I'm a very sexual creature, right? So we'll go ahead and keep this podcast going. But listen. So there's a lot of sun on my face. I'm not going to close the blinds. I have blackout curtains. I'm not going to fix this. I do not care. I want the sun on my face. I want to breathe in, the life of God. So that's what we're going to do here. Guys, if any of you on the Instagram have something that you would like to comment on or for me to comment on, you can do that. And it'll still just be entertaining for the YouTube and the Spotify listeners. Somebody says I watch podcasts while driving all the time. That is not to spill too many beans here, but I know this guy and I know he rides a motorcycle. So next time you guys see a motorcyclist out on the street, just know that they are very likely wearing an Apple Vision Pro and just watching Joe Rogan. Like that's what they're doing, which is horrific to think about, truly. Now, again, if you are watching this on YouTube, you may see that the background is a little messy. Things are a little bit messy. Guys, I am going to Europe in 12 days, 13 days, something like that. I'm getting on a plane and I'm flying to the UK and I'm doing a boot camp. So if any of you live in the UK and you're like, wow, this is the first time I heard about this, jump on this boot camp immediately. You could DM me, Aaron Alexander Official, on Instagram, or you can go to CoachAaronAlexander.com and you will be able to DM me about the London boot camp. But I'm going to come out to Warsaw as well. I'm going to go down and I'm not going to do any coaching, but I'm going to go spend some time in France, a couple different cities down there, and definitely going to be hitting up Berlin. So going to be a wild time. Now, I thought an interesting place to start this episode, I thought would be talking a bit about sort of the idea that if you guys are going out gaming, I mean, I sometimes I feel when I do this podcast, sometimes I feel like I should just almost eliminate the idea that anybody is gaming from my mind as I like build this brand, in a sense, right? It's like, how many guys, let's say that this podcast gets 1,000 listens. Of the 1,000, how many dudes are actually even going out? Less than 100, right? Less than 100. So now I'm just kind of making a podcast for less than 100 guys when there's 1,000 people that wanted to tune in. So sometimes I think, like, man, do I even waste my time anymore with like hardcore game advice? Maybe my hardcore game advice is just for courses. Maybe it's just for courses. Maybe it's for a separate YouTube channel because I know that most of you guys aren't going out. And that does baffle me. It does baffle me. When I think about the chick that I hooked up with last weekend, well, two girls that I hooked up with, but one that was just like unbelievably like a life-changing event, essentially, based on just sort of the way that it all went down, this girl in particular, some of the other situations around it. And I just think about how much I have been rewarded in my life for shooting my shot. I just cannot help but to have pity for those of you who are afraid to go out and shoot your shot. And I want to say this too. This is very, very important because a lot of you on Instagram are new to me and who I am, and there might be some new people here. So let's get one thing fucking straight. All right, let's get to it. There is nothing more. There is no greater of a down and out hater type dude than a dude that can't get laid, right? Like your sexual energy, the horniness that you feel. Horniness is like, okay, let's say somebody tells you, like, in life, follow your gut, follow your soul, follow your spirit, like follow what it is like that you want in this life, and like go after the things that you want in this life. Is there anything more programmed inside of you than to be horny? Is there anything? Like hunger, maybe, eating and being horny are like two of your strongest impulses on this planet. And so as a man that cannot get laid, when you're going out and you're seeing women that are just gorgeous, just beautiful, just perfect tits, perfect ass, beautiful fucking face, just a sweet feminine angel created by God. And you see her and you just know, like, oh, I can't have her. I believe so deeply that I can't have her that I wouldn't even attempt to go get her. And so now I have solidified, I have guaranteed that I will never have her. I am certain of this now. And so that dude, he is going to build up so much resentment. And then that scenario that I just played out, but now let's even say like, bro, now let's even say the guy who sees that same woman, but she's with another dude. And now this guy's comparing himself to that dude, and he's really resenting that dude even more. And it just starts to get dark. It really, really will start to get dark. And so for me, as somebody who has posted like tons of infields on game and showing myself going out, picking up chicks and all of this and teaching it because I had to learn it. None of this comes from a place of arrogance. None of this ever on my end comes from a place of arrogance. I mean, this was something that I deeply, deeply struggled with and that I had to learn. And I learned through years and years of hard work and dedication. And so, you know, I'll get shit on for a lot of different reasons, but a big one is, man, is getting laid really that important to you? Is getting laid really that important to you? It's like, First of all, yes. Yeah. I mean, that's just me personally. I am just a horny person. And in the same way that, and now think about it this way, right? In the same way that you've met some women, this could even be a family member of yours. Like, and not to get weird, this isn't going to go to a weird place or anything, but in the same way that you'll meet some women, and you could just tell, like, there's just not that much of a sexual energy there. They're just not like, they're just, you know, maybe they enjoy sex. Maybe they want to have it, you know, sometimes. And maybe they even have a little bit of a sex drive. But it's not like, it's not glaring. It's clearly not like dominating them, right? And then there's other women where they are just fantasizing about getting gangbanged all the time. They are fantasizing about sick sexual shit. They want sexual shit. They go out. They literally go out with the intent of getting laid. They want it. They fucking fiend for it. They have dreams of orgies. They want to do threesomes, like all of that, right? Everybody is on the spectrum of being extremely horny or just not horny at all. And so a lot of guys, I feel like, that shit on game or they shit on guys that want to get laid and all that stuff, they're just like not horny dudes. And that's fine. It's okay to not be horny. My whole thing is, like, I've always said this to people. I'm like, I'm never pushing an agenda onto you guys. I don't care if you ever go out and get laid again. In my opinion, if that was your desire, then you would just choose to never tune into my content again. So I'm talking to like a very specific type of people, right? Guys that want to get laid. And so guys will say, oh, is it really the most important thing in the world to you, whatever? I'm like, listen, man, listen. For me, first of all, yes, it is, okay? It is extremely, extremely important. That's just who I am. I want it. I want to experience the divine feminine energy of this universe. I think that, there's a lot of, so in life, you want to operate off of this paradigm of hunting and killing, right? Like everything that fuels you in your life, it's basically hunting and then getting that kill. And the men who actually succeed in this life, they are the ones who learn to endure the difficulty of the hunt. So when you go out to start this business, to go out and make this money, to whatever, you are hunting for that resources of finances, and then you get a fucking little bite, you get a snag, you fucking shoot something, you make some cash, it fuels you. And now you use that fuel as nutrition to continue hunting. It's all about hunting and killing. When you set out to achieve anything great, you are on the hunt for that great thing. And now, for me, the act of going out into the world, facing my fears, facing my anxieties, feeling a little bit of that shakiness, that nervousness, having to overcome a little bit of those limiting beliefs and that self-doubt, and thinking to myself, like, bro, this girl does not want to be bothered, man. Like, just come on, like, dude, don't do this, man. I think I saw a ring over there. I'm pretty sure I saw a ring on her face. All that one looks too. All these different bullshit things, man. Come on. And then I overcome that, and I go up and I do that approach. Bro, game is a self-development tool. Game, being able to do this. So many of you guys, none of you guys are going to go approach a woman. You're just not going to do it. And it is the ultimate hunting. It is like, hey, I am a man. There's something that I want. I'm going to go out. And now, of course, with game, right? This is a dual character game, right? So it's a two-person game. So it's like you've got her and then you've got you. So we also are going to operate with a lot of empathy too. We're going to operate with a lot of empathy. We're going to operate in a way where, these women, they end up, deciding like, hey, they don't want to give me her phone number. I'm going to move along. This girl doesn't want to sleep with me. I'm going to move along. She doesn't want to go on a date with me. I'm going to move along. It's not about being needy. It's not about being aggressive. It's about being the hunter. It's about being the man who goes out and goes after what he wants. And every man that you have ever had any respect for in this life, they have gone out and they have gone after what they want. And I see so many men today not doing that at all. Now, I'm going to bounce around. Again, I haven't done a solo podcast in quite some time. I'm going to bounce around from topic to topic a little bit. But something I wanted to talk about, too, was yesterday, I went and I did some day game. And it was crazy because I'm at this outdoor mall area. And it's just it was a very sterile environment. There were some cute girls. There were definitely some chicks out, and I did some approaches, but it was just like so sterile. There was literally like Baby Shark coming over a speaker. There was like little kids all around, a lot of families, like full-blown families, having little fucking picnics at the park pretty much. I mean, very sterile environment. And I was going up doing approaches, but I was finding myself just like almost just not even horny at all. Like kind of just like, oh, I'm going through these approaches really just to kind of go through them. And so interestingly enough, we're kind of doing that. And I tell the guy that I'm with, I say like, bro, let's like pop down over to this area. So we pop down to another part of the outdoor mall area that we're at. And there's a bar, and it's starting to try to get popping. It's early. It's like 1 p.m., but it's like trying to get people in for some day drinking. And it's got some rap music going. And I realized like as that rap music is going, there's like a rhythm now. There's a fluctuation in energy. There's like I don't remember what the songs were or anything like that, but it's just like, okay, this is kind of like, all right, now we're getting moving here. And it was putting me in the headspace now of like being excited about the environment. I was actually starting to be excited now about where I was. And so I thought to myself, so then I started actually having really good approaches because it's putting me into like this more sexual state, like a more sexual mood, like a party mood, a sexual mood. And so two things here. Number one, at the very beginning stages, which again is most of you guys, if you guys have not had that many results with women from game or anything, or you haven't smashed out a whole lot of chicks, then 1 is greater than 0. Go do approaches. Go do approaches, and any approach is a victory. 100%. I don't give a fuck how bad it goes. So many of you guys too, you're so afraid. Dude, you're so fucking concerned about your ego. You're so concerned about your reputation in your little town and you know, what if like this fucking Bro, I ran around Columbus, Ohio. Go to my YouTube channel for anybody that's like watching on Instagram Live right now or anything, whatever. Go to my YouTube channel, Aaron Alexander Dating. Type that in. There's another Aaron Alexander out there who outranks me on everything, and I'm gonna come for him one of these days. But look up Aaron Alexander Dating, bro. Look at how many infield videos I was recording in Columbus, Ohio. And I never, nothing bad ever happened. I slept with so many women, but nothing bad happened because I'm a good guy with good intentions. I bet there's a guy at like every college campus or in every city who has a body count of less than 10, as opposed to mine, which is in the hundreds, who has a body count of less than 10, and he ends up getting like some sort of an accusation or a charge or something really bad happening to him because he's a bad dude. For me, I'm such like a good fucking guy. For me, like sex with these women was always just so win-win. Fucking like, hey, like, what are you doing after this? Like, you don't have to. I just wanted to put it out there. Like, you're more than welcome to stay the night. Like, what do you got going on the rest of the night? Like, after we fuck, like, you ever watch Nathan For You? Let's watch Nathan For You. Like, fucking hanging out, wanting to hit her up again. Because if I have sex with a chick, it's very rare, especially these days, it's very rare that I'm having sex with a girl that like I wouldn't want to see again. It's very rare at this point. Like, it's for the most part, if I'm gonna pull the trigger on it, it would be a chick that I'd want to see again. So I'm just like a good dude, right? So you guys are so concerned with like your fucking reputations and all of this shit. Again, for you beginners that are practicing, if you can't get that thought out of your mind, drive to the next town over. Look up a mall that's 50 miles away. All right. I'm here in Austin, Texas right now. If I wanted to really get in some sets, maybe I'd go do a little weekend in Houston. Maybe I'd go do a little weekend in Dallas. Maybe I would find a mall that's an hour west, an hour east, whatever, and I would get fucking energy drinks. I'd watch a ton of Aaron Alexander's videos, and I would go around and spam approach. And I don't care how bad these are. Excuse me, sorry to bother you. I don't ever come to this mall, and I'm not getting cell phone service. Is there a coffee shop here in the mall at all? Yeah, I think it's like da-da-da-da-da. Okay, you're very cute, by the way. Oh, that's okay. I have a boyfriend. Okay, no problem. Have a good one. And eat it. Eat that rejection. Eat that weird, nervous, anxious energy that you now feel of like, oh man, I can't believe I did that. Like, oh my God. Bro, you already didn't have her. You guys not being able to deal with rejection is extremely weak. It is actually very, very weak. And I've always said this, men do not want to be two things. What are like the two worst things you could be as a man? If somebody were to describe your grandfather, for example, right? It's very common for us to describe our grandfather as like he was such like a hardworking man, like he was such a good man, hardworking man. Kind of like the worst thing you could ever hear about your grandfather is like these two things, right? He was lazy and he was a coward. There is nothing worse than the lazy coward. And so I hate to break it to you, but you guys have now seen beyond the veil. You're now listening to this podcast. You're now watching my fucking videos. And if you're single and if you're horny and you have no bitches and you're consuming this content in this idea, in this fantasy land where one day, just like fucking walking through the wardrobe into Narnia, you're just going to go out and be your most confident self, it's not going to fucking happen. You're a lazy coward. And again, this is just the truth. This isn't the shit that sells you on my boot camp. If I was trying to sell you on my fucking live coaching right now, I'd be like, listen, every man struggles. And I'm here to walk you through your struggles. And I will, which if you show up to the boot camp, I will walk you through your struggles. But ultimately, you're a lazy coward if you don't fucking set aside what I work this many hours and then show me your screen time. Show me your fucking screen time. All right. Benjamin Franklin was like founding America and banging out tons of chicks and traveling back and forth to fucking England and writing Poor Richard's Almanac and fucking basically discovering electricity and performing secret fucking experiments on a whole ton of bodies that were found in his London man. Like, fucking people do shit, bro. Show me your goddamn screen time and then talk to me about how many hours I work. It's like, I just, by the time work's over, You also probably have adrenal fatigue. You guys also are not hormonally optimizing. And this is why any of you, listen to me, for any of you listening to this podcast right now, if you are tired all the time, if you are struggling with chicks, if you are struggling to lose body fat, I am 24 pounds down since January 1st, by the way. I did end up having a big cheat sort of evening last night. So I might be looking a little chubbier than I even was yesterday, but that's okay. I'm down 24 pounds. If your life is just in the gutter, DM me on Instagram, Aaron Alexander Official, and just be like, yo, what's up? Like maybe you could help me. Like, hit me up. Let's talk about me coaching you. Okay? Go to coachaaronalexander.com and fill out a coaching application, or just DM me on Instagram. Some of you are watching on Instagram live right now, so, you know, or if you're on the podcast listening, then you can just hit me up on Instagram. But I can fucking help you with so much. I can literally, bro, like, my life has been dedicated to fucking a lot of chicks, all right, getting in better shape. I grew up insanely fat. People don't understand. Like, I see a lot of fitness influencers where they're like, this was me before. And they're like 15. They're literally like prepubescent. And they're like, look at me now. And they're like 25. And they've got like a full beard and they're fucking jacked. Whatever. It's like, wow, man, like, you went through puberty. That's great. Or I'll see a guy who grew up thin and then he got fat later on in life. And then he goes like, this was me at my worst. And then he lost the weight and people are like applauding it. That's not hard. That's not hard. Your genetics, they become tuned over many, many, many years. And so I was fat as a baby. I was in a fat family and they made me a fat baby and then they made me a fat kid and a fat teenager. I have fat genetics. I am a gene pool of fat. And so for me to lose weight, to put on muscle, after being a genetic fatty, like to the fucking core, people say, oh, really? Like, you have to do this like TRT and all these supplements, and you're like, so, I mean, isn't it easy? Isn't it just like, I mean, all I did was start skipping breakfast, and I lost 50, because you're not genetically fat. I am, which makes me an absolute expert on fat loss, like to an unbelievable level. So, anyways, I'll coach you in all realms. I'll just help you to live a fucking phenomenal life, including with women. Now, back to the original point. And the original point was as follows. Early on in game, practice. Get these reps in. 1 is greater than 0. But at a certain level, and now I'm literally talking to like 5 of you guys. I mean, now there's like 5 people. This is why, by the way, I mean, straight up, this is why my like YouTube channel has never popped off or anything. Because I'll post like a dumb video that people like, where it's like, girl drops blueberries when I approach her. And everybody's like, that was funny. The girl dropped the blueberries when Aaron approached her. That's funny. And then the next video is like, my fucking 4-hour seminar on how to sexually escalate on a fucking date in the club. And it's like, people are like, bro, I don't even go to the club, let alone date, let alone sexually escalate, let alone like, because I give like such good, insane fucking advice that's why my shit like will probably never pop. Unless I decide to do a separate, I gotta separate my channels out. But that's okay. That's all right. We're good. There's no reason really to talk about that too much. It's all good. The point is again, now I'm talking to like 5 of you. And the 5 of you that I'm talking to are you guys out there who you actually get laid, you actually do day game, you actually do night game, you actually get results. You must get to a place. When I am walking down the street and I see a girl coming my way, or I'm at the fucking Whole Foods and I see a chick down aisle 7 looking at some scam-ass alkaline fucking water, 9.5 pH, whatever. Scam. I don't look at her and go like, oh, let me get in the set. Let me get in the fucking set. I look at her and I go, I'm going to fuck that girl. I'm going to fuck that chick. Let's go. Let's go now, like, make that happen. As I said earlier, hunting and killing, which again, I know in a dating, metaphorically, from now on, I'm going to always say metaphorically hunting and killing, because I know that in a dating and pickup context, I know it's not cool to say hunting and killing. When I say hunting and killing, you can apply that to money. You can apply that to a sport. You are literally like hunting the championship trophy, like all of these things. So when I see a chick, I don't think like, oh, yeah, like that could be my next practice run. No, it's like, I'm going to try to fuck that girl right now. I'm going to give it my all. However, I am, of course, going to then have empathy. She tells me she has a boyfriend during the day. If you watch some of my old videos, you can probably find like how I used to teach guys to overcome the boyfriend objection and get her number or her Instagram anyways. These days, especially if I'm going to be going to the same Whole Foods over and over again, especially if I go to the same H-E-B to shop often, and then I'm sometimes gaming in there, maybe even sometimes taking a student in there, the last thing I ever want is some sort of a problem. So especially at indoor environments that I'm going to be frequenting, if a woman tells me she has a boyfriend, I view that in the same exact way now as when I've lied to a homeless guy and when you guys have lied to a homeless guy and just said, I don't have any cash on me. Because you don't want to have a whole philosophical conversation. Listen, man, I would give you money, but I personally feel as though you're going to go spend that on drugs and alcohol, and I believe that by doing that, I'm enabling you to continue your poor situation. You just want to say, sorry, man, I don't have any money. So this girl might not want to sit there and tell you, oh, hey, you know what? I'm actually not attracted to you at all. I actually hate the way that you just approached me. I'm in a terrible mood. She might not want to say that. So when she tells me, I got a boyfriend, I say, hey, no problem. Maybe I'll see you around. She goes, yeah. And now maybe I fucking see her out at the bar. And now maybe I'm going, hey, you still got that boyfriend? And she's like, oh my God. And I go, hey, it's cool. Serious question though. Like, has anybody ever hit on you like that at the fucking, at HEB over here? No, and no, I don't actually have a boyfriend. I didn't know what to say. It's like, oh, sick. Well, whatever. Let's pop up to the bar. She's like, okay, cool. You never know. So also, guys, and let me tell you another quick little story here. This is actually, I was going to try to pull up a text message conversation, but that's what the Instagram Live is rolling on. I don't remember if I've mentioned this for everybody listening on YouTube and Spotify, but I'm running the podcast on IG Live right now as well. So long story short, I had a girl recently, back to, again, being a good guy and having empathy. I had this chick recently that I was sleeping with, and we only hooked up 3 or 4 times, but it was bomb. It was so good. I hit her up as usual, This was over the course of 2 weeks, I would say. Probably like once the first week, then like twice the next week. Short little thing. And I hit her up as usual, like, hey, what's up? Like, what do you got going on Tuesday? I get a text back, long. I see it's a brick. I'm like, oh, fuck. And she just basically tells me, like, it really pains me to say this because I genuinely feel like our connection is so strong, but I'm going to, but I'm going to pursue something with this guy who I've been seeing for a little while and this and that, whatever. And I go, and again, like, part of me wants to be, I don't get mad. I genuinely don't get mad. A lot of you guys would get mad, right? A lot of you guys would be like, fucking, because you're in such scarcity. It's like, I finally nabbed one and now she's going to like, meh. So I wasn't mad. But I also didn't want to be like too much of a player and be like, no problem. Like too like unattached. So I sent back like a kind of a long text as well. And I said like, yeah, for sure. I appreciate you letting me know instead of ghosting. Totally all good. You're a really sweet girl and you deserve, to find happiness. And so whatever, makes you happy, definitely pursue that. And I sent this long kind of nice text. And at the end, I just said like, you know where to find me, if you ever want to hang out. That's what I say. I don't say like, when it's over or anything like that. I say, you know where to find me if you ever want to hang out. A couple months goes by, and out of the blue, I get, hey, with 3 Ys, LOL. And I go, hey, what's up? And so then she's back in the mix. So again, by being a cool guy and by being chill and having empathy, a lot of you, here's the problem, right? A lot of you don't actually love women, and you should. The reason why a lot of you don't love women is because of so much of the pain that you have maybe felt around women. And not only that, but also the ego is so good at protecting itself that the ego, the mind, will end up creating hatred for the things that we can't have as a protection mechanism to defend itself and protect itself from the pain of not having those things. So if you actually type in on Google, you can find this anywhere. I found this in books. I found this in different like courses and different things. There's a vibrational scale, right? And one thing that I remember I always found very interesting about the vibrational scale is, hey, also, Robo E Spirit, I see you commenting on my Instagram, and I see that just from your little picture there, you've got the Eiffel Tower. I'm going to be coming to Paris. DM me, and even if you're not interested in coaching, maybe you can like let me stay at your apartment for free for a little bit or something like that. Just I'll be there soon, so fucking DM me real quick, and we'll get a little conversation about my trip coming there. So, anyway, what was I saying? Bro, I'm going to fuck so many French chicks. It's going to be unfucking believable. So, the reason why you don't love women oftentimes is because, they caused you so much pain. And so the mind will do this, right? So when you look at the vibrational scale, I always found it interesting that anger was so much further above apathy and depression. I always found that very interesting. And it makes sense because apathy and depression, imagine you've gotten broken up with. And you're laying in bed, maybe you're crying, maybe you're like, dude, you got cheated on, man. Like, women can really traumatize men, guys. I've been cheated on. I've been deeply traumatized. I will never, breakups can be like death. Even breakups I've done myself have fucking destroyed me, man. Like, so I would never minimize the pain of that. But when you're laying there depressed and sad and you're really fucking depressed, like, you have to allow that to happen. You have to allow your body to do that. But then you have to move into anger. Okay, Robo E Spirit. So now you're actually only like 2 hours north of me right now. That's very interesting. Yeah, still DM me. Let's talk. A lot of connections here, both here in Texas. So move into anger. Get fucking pissed. In this situation, you want to get pissed and you want to go to your ex-girlfriend's house that broke up with you and you want to slash her tires. You want to put sugar in her gas tank, right? Like, anger is above depression and apathy on the vibrational scale. So you want to be pissed, right? You want to deflower her flower beds. I'm kidding. Listen, you want to get angry and you want to say to yourself, I actually have a list. I've talked about this on the podcast. I have a list of all the bags that I have fumbled in my life. I don't want to go into detail. Maybe one day I would do a whole podcast on all of them. I have fumbled pretty insane bags, and some of them have been very largely financial. Like, very, very large financial bags have been fumbled by me at a few different times. And a couple of them were when I was very broke. And so the pain when I was younger and like very broke and still living in like a very shitty situation on college campus and stuff, with a bunch of roommates and shit. And so the pain of fumbling those bags was like so immense at those times. I look back at it now and like, now here's where I'm at with it. And this goes for you guys with the breakup and everything. All right. Every bag you've ever fumbled in your life, financial, with a girl, every failure, every shortcoming, you thought you were going to get into this fucking dream college and you didn't, and so you had to settle for this other shitty college, and it always bothers you. You always imagine yourself with a degree from this university, but it ended up having to be this one. Every test you failed, like everything. Every bag you've ever fucking fumbled. If you do not over the top succeed in this life, if you are not insanely fucking wealthy and in the exact relationship situation that you want, okay? Meaning for you, that might be the hottest wife ever. That might mean the hottest Italian wife, the hottest Latino wife. That might mean having a fucking rotation of girls constantly, and they're so hot. And like, if you're not living like the ultimate fucking life eventually, and ideally sooner rather than later, then all of those people and circumstances and situations that caused you to fumble those bags, they win. The universe wins. And God gives us challenges. The universe gives us challenges to make us stronger men. And if you do not fucking ultimately succeed at all of this, then the devil wins. And these bags that you fumbled, they were all for nothing. This is why I'm extremely one of the gayest fucking takes I see on the internet today. It really pisses me off. This like really fucking pisses me off. I got to switch out my gum. I've got some dry mouth from my coffee here. Give me a second. I know everybody on the Instagram Live is enjoying this. I hope everybody on YouTube and Spotify is enjoying this too. I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't. If you're listening on YouTube or watching, please comment down below and let me know like, oh, this was kind of cool. You're kind of talking to the Instagram guys, but then you're doing this. Wait, somebody comment on the Instagram. What was I just talking about? Oh, I feel like it was going to be good. Oh, man. Dude, I lost it. Wait, what was I just talking about? I know I was talking about fumbling bags. I was talking about failures. Dude, if anybody on the Instagram could comment what I was just talking about before I put the gum in. I really lost it. I was channeling God, and then I really interrupted it. Oh, God giving you your greatest challenges, but I feel like I was on the verge of something like profound, and that was why I chose the gum break at that moment. The God and the devil using all those past negative experiences to fuel and motivate you. Yeah, look, I mean, I feel like I was probably on the verge of something very, very profound, and then maybe what I'll do is I'll rewatch this afterwards, and then I'll start next week's episode that way. The list of negative experiences where I fumbled the bag. Yeah. So, ultimately, guys, if you do not ultimately succeed, then all of these, oh, I got it. No, I got it. My bad. This is the gayest shit that I see today, and it really drives me crazy. That's what it was. All right. So, I fucking hate. I hate when people are pro-bullying for kids, right? There's this, and this is going to sound very like, almost like very lefty of me. I'm not when it comes to politics, you guys know I love Trump, but like, I'm not really a conservative at all. Like, I'm not a conservative. I'm barely even a Republican. I'm just like a Trump guy. I love Trump, right? This is going to sound very lefty of me. This is going to sound very like woke and soft and whatever. But dude, like the state, everybody should be doing absolutely everything to prevent bullying in schools. And then what you'll have is like successful people, right? Most successful people, all of their talents have come from an overcompensation of pain when they were younger. That's typically the case for most successful people. Even if you look at somebody like Trump, it's like, oh, well, what about him? What was the pain when he was younger? You don't know. For all you know, Trump's dad was extremely abusive and told him he'll never fucking amount to anything because he's being born into money. Like, who knows? Who knows, right? But at the end of the day, you'll have successful people like Joe Rogan, for example, or who else, man? There's a lot of successful people where they almost cite bullying as the reason why they're successful. Like, I got bullied a lot when I was a kid, so that really motivated me. UFC fighters. This is very common with fighters and boxers and shit, right? I was bullied as a kid, and so it really motivated me to go get in the gym and to get strong and to whatever. And so they'll almost be like pro-bullying in a sense. Like, yeah, it's good for kids. It's like, yeah, learn to defend yourself, learn to like whatever. That's great, but that's legitimately for like fucking 5% of people bullied. Okay? For every 1 million kids out there that are getting bullied in school, maybe like 500 or maybe like 50,000 or less are actually going to like make something of themselves because of it. And the rest are just like traumatized, silent, fucking NPC bystanders in society because they have learned to stay in their lane. They've been taught to stay in their lane and to never go after anything because as long as they stay in their lane, then they won't be bothered and they won't be bullied. Bullying for children is so fucking horrible. It makes me so sad, man. And I wasn't bullied that bad. I really wasn't. This isn't like my own sort of like defense of it and whatever because of me and I got bullied a little bit, but it never really mattered. I mean, I am a very if I kind of go back and forth with somebody, like roasting somebody back and forth, like I'm very vicious and quick. And I did develop that. And I think I developed that from maybe being bullied very early on. And then I eventually like kind of got to a place where like, even if somebody came at me, I had absolutely no problem like roasting the fuck out of their girlfriend, like to their face. And then I was always like kind of surrounded by guys that would sort of have my back. And so I never dealt with it that much, but bullying really needs to be stopped, man. So that's the name of this episode is that bullying should be stopped, I guess. Little side rant here, but all right, guys, let's pick this back up. I feel like the bullying rant sort of took down the energy of the show, so let's pick it back up, and we'll do about 18 more minutes or so, and we'll keep this beautiful day moving forward. And I hope you guys are enjoying this podcast. Again, guys, I can coach you to freedom, truly. I've got boot camps coming up in New York, LA, Austin, Miami, and Chicago this coming summer. And then very last minute, if you guys are watching this right now, I'm going to be all around Europe starting in like 15 days, bruv. I'm going to start saying bruv when I'm over there. 15 days, bruv. I'll be in Europe. So hit me the fuck up. I'll come coach you in Europe. I'll even do like some one-on-ones. If you guys live in Europe, and you want me to do a little bit of a one-on-one coaching with you, I'll do it. I'm not going to give you my all. Well, maybe I will. We'll see. Maybe I'll give you my all, but I'll do it at a little bit of a discounted rate potentially, since if I'm like already going to be in your city or something. Actually, you know what? If you want me to coach you in your city in Europe, if you give me 7 days in your apartment alone so I can like use it, I'll do 1 day of one-on-one coaching with you. That's the compromise. That's the deal that I'm willing to come to. So again, if you live in Europe and you're in a Western city, so you know, like what? Not in Poland, not in Romania, none of that. If you're in like Barcelona or Madrid or Paris or somewhere else in France, and you want to give me your apartment for 7 to 10 days, I will do 1 day of coaching with you. But you can't be staying at your apartment unless it's like a giant 2-bedroom or something. I will coach you for a day. So you guys can DM me on Instagram, Aaron Alexander Official, if that describes you, and we'll come to some sort of a deal. But I'm very excited for that trip, and I think that the bullying rant sort of started to take down the energy of the show, but we are going to pick it back up here. But yeah, guys, whether it's the U.S. boot camps coming up this summer or the European boot camps coming up, DM me on Instagram, Aaron Alexander Official, or go to CoachAaronAlexander.com. It's the best way that you can support yourself as well as me on this podcast. So let's get back to this concept of of actually seeing it in your mind. And I'm going to take this back to the mall that I had brought up earlier. So, as I was saying yesterday, when I was doing day game and I was at the outdoor mall area, in that sterile environment, children running around, mom and dad sitting on the blankie, having a sandwich, right? The mood wasn't there. I end up over near the bar with the rap music playing. All of a sudden, the mood's there. There's a rhythm, there's a flow, there's an energy to the universe around you, to the environment around you. And so now I'm starting to get into this flow. And it kind of got me thinking. To me, when I go out and I do grocery store game, when I go to the H-E-B, when I go to Target, when I'm actually like at the indoor mall, in a sense, there is a part of me that views this as so high pressure, in a sense, versus the lowest pressure ever being like a dimly lit, loud, packed bar. That's kind of like the lowest pressure. Like a Vegas club is kind of lowest pressure to me. You get rinsed out over here, you get roasted over here, you get over here, whatever, you come over here, you hook. Target ain't like that, right? So to me, it's like my senses are elevated. And so I kind of thought about this yesterday while I was doing day game. You guys might want to consider, I've never thought of this before until yesterday. You guys might want to consider finding those rap songs or those high energy songs. I like to listen to, I keep fucking glancing over for my phone, forgetting that I'm doing the IG Live. I listen to a lot of, if you type in 80s synthwave, if you find some really good 80s synthwave music, like people make these 4-hour long compilations, no vocals or anything. It fucking makes you feel like you're in a movie. Find some music, maybe some rap, maybe some upbeat shit that makes you feel like a walk down the street. It makes you feel like you're a character in a goddamn movie. I really like a bunch of the songs from the Succession album as well. The Succession soundtrack. I really like some of those too. They make you feel like you're in a fucking movie. So listen to that shit in headphones while you go to these environments to do day game. And it might really put you in a better state of mind to do these approaches and to enter that place that I'm talking about here where you feel like, again, there's that girl. This is not just going to be a practice run. This is not just going to be me getting in a rep. I'm going to try to like fuck this girl right now. I'm going to make this happen. And so anything that can positively influence your environment. And I think about this too with how there's songs at the bars and the clubs that I fucking hate more than anything. And the reason I hate them is because they kill any and all energy. So at least here in Austin, there's not that many like grinding, dancing kind of clubs. I've definitely now been back to some in New York. There was one that was fucking awesome. Big dance floor, you're gaming a chick, you go up, you start grinding on her, a little bit in Miami. But I remember like in the peak days of that, kind of pre-COVID, in Columbus, I remember it would be like, you're grinding on a chick, they're playing Fetty Wap, they're playing Drake, they're playing Travis Scott. You got this fucking girl's ass on you, you're flipping her back around, you're making out with her. And then all of a sudden, this fucking DJ, who he thinks he is cool, right? He thinks he's funny. I don't know what he thinks, but he's a fucking degenerate. This DJ decides, hey, you know what I'm going to do? For anybody here that's trying to get laid, I'm going to actually completely kill the mood here. And I'm going to put on Bon Jovi's Living on a Prayer. There's 3 that I hate more than anything. 4. There's 4 I hate more than anything. Number 1, Bon Jovi, Living on a Prayer. Number 2, what's it even called? Journey? The stupid Journey song. But don't stop believing. That's terrible. The worst of the worst. I'll get to the second to the worst. The second to the worst is Hey Caroline. Sweet Caroline. Ba, ba, ba. Again, killing all sexual energy. And then the absolute worst of the worst is, Ooh, I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney fucking Houston. Because that song is not for her to want to dance with a guy. Okay? It's not that. No. That song is for her to grab her fat friend, Erica, and for them to be like, I want to dance with somebody. So again, you just had a raging boner pressed up against this tight little ass, grabbing this tight little fucking core. You were fucking grabbing on her hair, and then all of a sudden, whoa, whoa, we're halfway there. Whoa, whoa, I'm living on a prayer. Starts fucking playing. And these girls, no matter their age, they pretend to like the songs. They pretend to, and they do not like the song. They are not listening to this in their car. They will never, ever choose to put this on, ever. They pretend to like the songs because they've been taught early on, this is what you do. When Living on a Prayer comes on, or Don't Stop Believing comes on, I, as a woman who also pretends to watch sports, I now have to, kind of jump up and be like, yeah, and hold a fake microphone and fucking pretend to like this song. So it drives me absolutely bonkers. It really does. But yeah, man. That's where we're at. That's where we're at today. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode of the podcast, for everybody that listened and for everybody on the Instagram Live. I mean, this was a cool thing to do. Maybe I'll start announcing that I'm going to record the podcast live on Instagram Live. I think that would be cool. If you guys have any comments, you guys can leave them here on Instagram Live real quick, and I'll keep this going for about 8 more minutes, and maybe I'll answer a couple questions or give me a good topic to talk about or something like that. But again, I just want to share with everybody. While if anybody decides to comment, that's cool. If not, that's all good too. But I just want to share with everybody that Hunter and I, we recently did an episode on everything that happened at this Teal Swan event that I went to. But the day of the episode, I accidentally took a pill called modafinil. And modafinil is really good for focus on a task that is tedious and required. Look how dry my skin is, bro. For everybody on the YouTube channel, it's not dry, by the way. I use a lot of moisturizer. What this is the peeling of my sunburn. But now it's just looking like horrific dry skin. But I got a little sunburn in Miami. I should do a whole fucking Miami debrief podcast. That'd be sick. But so I've lost 24 pounds. And the way that I've done it is by doing basically carnivore. And then over time, I kind of thought to myself, I was like, well, do I really need to do carnivore, or should I just do keto and therefore be sort of adding in vegetables? So now what I'm doing is I'm doing carnivore diet. Well, I don't even want to call it that. I'm just doing meat, eggs, lettuce, spinach, and avocado. And then like zero carbohydrate condiments, I guess I would say. So for example, olive oil to cook in, coconut oil here and there to cook in as well. Low carb, like zero carb blue cheese dressing. Mustard, which is 0 calories. I don't know if you guys knew that. Mustard, 0 calories. So I'm just doing that. And I've lost 24 pounds. And it's been incredible. I spiritually am against fat. I believe a lot in the spiritual component to your body holding fat. I really do. And I don't know if I want to get all into that right now. I'm going to go ahead and answer this question. But what would you say was the toughest mindset for you to adopt in your journey? Not for coaching students, but for you personally. The toughest mindset to adopt is, so I'll start off with what the antithesis to the mindset is, right? So the antithesis is basically being the guy that puts women on a pedestal. I put a lot of women on pedestals my whole life, right? Like growing up, when I look back at these girls, they were very basic. They were super mid, but I thought they were just like angels because your world is small. I grew up without the internet. We got the internet, MySpace and stuff when I was around 15, 16. So then you could kind of start idolizing like women on the internet more that even live maybe in a few cities over, things like that. But there was a lot of mid chicks that I put on a pedestal, and again, I've said this before, but like I look back at them now and I go like, dude, I would like barely even want to hit that now. I mean, let's say that they got up to like 21. It's like if I saw them at the bar, I wouldn't be like that impressed. Just be like, oh yeah, oh maybe I'll go, yeah, maybe I'll go talk to her, whatever. So the mindset that's been the most difficult to obtain, and that will be for all people, for all men, is that, as a great philosopher once said, bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks. That's the mindset that you have to adopt. And of course, I'm being a bit facetious and making a slight joke out of it, but ultimately, I think that when you've hooked up with a lot of women that you previously would have put on the pedestal, and you have to scrape and claw your way to getting there. You have to scrape and claw your fucking way to actually sleeping with some of these women. It's going to be a fucking grind. You've got to watch every fucking video. You've got to fucking do coaching. You've got to fucking go out relentlessly. You've got to bail on your friends. You've got to stop hanging out with anybody that's not a wing. Like, you've got to, and you've got to be tired all the time, and you've got to get low sleep because you went out that night. Like, you've got to scrape and claw. But then once you have scraped and clawed enough, and you've gotten to a place where you have now hooked up with attractive women that you previously otherwise would have put on the pedestal, and you're just looking down, and this chick is enthusiastically sucking your dick. It's your dick that she is now enthusiastically trying to please. She's not going through the motion. She's fucking locked in. She's not even looking up at you. She's like fucking locked into sucking your dick. And it's that girl that you've got now fucking bent over the arm of your couch, and you're just fucking the shit out of her and smacking her ass and grabbing her fucking hair, and you're pulling on it. And she's fucking coming, and she's getting soaking wet. Her whole body's fucking quivering. And you've got her in that position. And then you start getting into some BDSM shit. And you've got that girl fucking tied up, fucking blindfolded. Again, maybe she's asking you to like fucking choke her harder. And you're choking these chicks and you're fucking them. All of this consensual and hot. And everybody, everyone's coming and it's just hot. At that point, when you have sort of had that power over enough women, then from there, you just don't really put them on a pedestal anymore. You then you're like, oh, I'm above you. And you've got to really be living it, right? You've got to be living a good life as well, where you feel successful, where you feel like you're doing something good in your life. But yeah, that's the hardest mindset, is to just not be putting them on the pedestal so much. And I don't even want to use the language because it could be taken so out of context by all you little fucking red pill MGTOW dorks. Of I'm above you. It's not about being above. It's just about I deserve you. Yeah, I just fucking deserve this chick. Why not? Look at the fucking way that look at the shit that I'm fucking, bro, of course I deserve this chick. What? So it's about getting to the mindset of being deserving versus being in the mindset of like, I would love to one day earn her. It's going from needing to earn to learning to deserve. That's where it comes from. So, all right, this is where I was pretty much going to wrap up anyways. And Instagram Live apparently is capped out at 1 hour, so it's giving me this countdown for 45 seconds left. So that's it. That's it for the podcast. I'm going to first end the Instagram Live, and then I'm going to end here on YouTube and Spotify. You guys rock. Peace.